Hi, Baton Rouge, especially District 10. So, welcome back to the Coleman Media Center, where our mission is to educate the people, let you know what has gone on, what is going on, and what's to come. And with that being said, how about I know anybody that has been in Baton Rouge, I would even say some in the state ought to know this gentleman that's here with me at this time. And this is Raymond Cosey Sr., the owner of Ray J's College of Hair. So we affectionately know him as Ray J. And so I am going to yield to Mr. Ray J here just to tell us something about himself, South Baton Rouge, District 10, Baton Rouge, all of that, because he has been all over and made differences in the lives of people.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here talking about this neighborhood because I was born and raised in this neighborhood. And when I say born and raised, I walked from 13th Street down to the bottom to school, which I graduated from McKinley. And doing that, I had a lot of things that I did within the neighborhood. I was a seasoned. I worked in the neighborhood, and working in the neighborhood is picking up corn selling. I did it for a price. If I didn't pick nothing, I didn't get paid. And figs, I picked figs and sold them.
Wow.
If I didn't pick them, then I couldn't sell them. These are seasoning things. And when you talk about seasoning things, let's go a little further in the neighborhood. I don't know if you know Mr. Keller, the Kellers that lived in the neighborhood. She's one of the pioneers of the neighborhood at New St. John. She used to do the Mother's Day flower for Mother's Day, and she would make them and I would sell them for a percentage. We did that for Mother's Day, and we did it for Father's Day. Everything that I did, I was independent in doing it because I was self-employed, which means if I didn't do it, then I didn't get anything. And I had parents that stayed on us. I had parents that made us go to church on Sundays. I had parents that looked after us, make sure we was well fed, well housed, and that was right here in the neighborhood on 13th Street. I was born and raised. And being that said, I shine shoes and up and down 13th Street. And you on 14th Street. These are the things that I did in order to make living. I picked up cold drink bottles for a percentage. Everything that I did was for a percentage. If I didn't do it, then I couldn't get it. I had the Bologna brothers around on 14th Street.
Yes.
This man took a liking to me and let me shine his shoes. Every day he'd come and let me shine shoes that I did. And my parents would let me go, walk the street. I wouldn't know more than, I would say, 13 years old. And I look at 13 today, it's totally different.
Yes.
But I had neighbors that watch over us. My mama and daddy, if I did something bad and the neighbors seen it, then my daddy would let that neighbor come in and spank me. And then when she got through, then he would do it. So that was don't spare the rod. My parents were that way. And being that way, I just come up that way, just being independent and finding some way to make a living for myself. And in doing that, when I finished 6th grade, I had enough money to buy my own suit.
Wow.
Because my mama saved my money. I had to take it home to her. And we dealt with Italian, that Bologna Brothers, Romanas. Those are the type stores that was in the neighborhood. And not only them, they was in there. We saw the baker shop, was in the neighborhood. The cleaners was in the neighborhood. All of these businesses that was in the neighborhood that we supported was African American. And these are the things that I come up around. As a matter of fact, what I do today, I finish it before I finish high school. My parents allow me to go live with my uncle in New Orleans. The man that I worked for, Shining Shoes, I end up in the barbershop with him. Mr. Henry Webb, this shop is 100 years old, 150 years old, I think, today. He has his great-grandkids running that business today. And this is where I got my start. Not only I got my start there, when I got my license, I even worked for him. Most people tease me. I say, went from the feet to the head. So that way, that made a name for me, and I took on. And I worked with some of the finest barbers back then that I think most of you all know. It was Jeff Robinson, C.O. Wilson, and Gilbert Partridge, and me. We created a name for the neighborhood and a business, and that business was Four-Way Barbershop. Each one of us had a part of that Four-Way. Four-Way today is still in the name of Gilbert Partridge and Raymond Cosey. So we still have it. We just have not produced another shop, at which we're coming up with a new shop in the near future. These are the things that I did. And from that, I branched out from them and opened a salon.
And that was one thing about you that, they knew that you were your own self entrepreneur, and that you knew how to work together as a group. But when you had your own ideas, then you would spring forward with doing that which you wanted to do. And see, these young people today talk about entrepreneurship, but what you're talking about now is real entrepreneurship. And what you say, if you didn't do it, you didn't get anything. And that is of utmost importance. I remember as a middle schooler coming in that Four-Way barber shop in there, and my brother Shining Shoes in that barber shop right there, Four-Way, and Uncle Seal being in there, and Jeff and you and Gilbert. And it was a respectful place where, everybody you could think of in this area came in there to get their hair cut. And so truly, you're the epitome of what entrepreneurship is and was, and just continuously ongoing with what and how you do it.
But also, back then was the situation where there was men walk the streets.
Yes.
In South Baton Rouge. When I say men, you're talking about Eddie Robinson, the coach of Grambling. He'd be on the corner talking to the kids, or talking to men or boys. You're talking about Jemison, Dr. Jemison. He was one of the greatest men that I met in my lifetime that pretty much educated me. Dr. Clark was, these are the type of men that came to District 10 to get a haircut and wear a barbershop where I shine shoes at. And these are the guys that really said things that had an impact on my life today. I heard a lot positive talk rather than negative talk. And they talk religion, they talk business, they talk living life and how to survive. And education was one of the main things. Education don't have to be in a classroom. Education can be on your daily walk, your daily job, your daily. Education comes so many different ways. Even with me, I'm a hands-on. And to learn what I learned, the community taught it to me. Yes, you do arithmetic and reading and stuff in school, but when you talk about going into business or having an idea and you're free from everybody and doing it, then you're capable of putting it together the way that you want. This is what we're missing today, education.
Yes, better believe it. That's a good point there. A lot of time folk think education is in them books, but education, you got your education as you was shining your shoes, them shoes. Hearing those, as you said, men have conversations about all and including life. And I'm sure that they would stop, all right, son, you hear this? Or at one point there to bring you into this conversation and to make sure that they were pouring into you. And that is of utmost importance. And that is truly something that's missing today. I also know that you have been, still is, very active in the community. So tell Baton Rouge what you've done and what you've continuously do and what you've been doing and how you're going to continue to go forward.
Well, going forward is something that reverse is the same thing that I'm doing when I first started, hair. And in doing hair, I've educated myself to the degree to open my own salon, from my salon to a school. And then doing that, I had recommendation from people that was in District 10 community that gave me good ratings on what I do for a living. And in doing that, then I was capable of open and getting licensed for a school. And today, now, we have 3 schools that
Wow.
in the community that we service kids. And at my schools, we have what you call 99.9 passing ratio. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't keep up. A lot of people just, I guess, never put the emphasis. But a barber today is a 6-figure barber. And when I say 6-figure, I mean that barber can make 6 figures if he treated like a business.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. And the thing that I know and notice about you as you interact with these young people, the professionalism from the beginning to the end, how they dress, how they do, how they interact, the whole 9 yards. And again, that's education all the way around. And that's good to know, barbers out there, young people or not so young, if you're interested in making a decent, real living that you'll be proud of where your funds come from, if you know what I mean, then that's something to know about. Being a barber is a 6-figure career. Also, you have another school, and that's the thing about you, Ray J, is you always you keep that ball rolling. And so now this next school that you're going to have open soon is going to be the aesthetic school. And so talk about that and tell the community what it is that you have on the agenda.
Well, our next school is going to be cosmetology, which means that we're going to be doing nails, aesthetics, makeup, eyebrow, lashes, and that. But the main thing that we put emphasis on, personality, hygiene, sanitation, property of hair, knowing the skin. These are the things that our schools really work on with our students. And texture of hair. If you don't know texture, how could you cut hair? You got to know texture. You got to know skin. So these are the things now that we're putting a shape on a student when they get out here into this world to meet the public. And in doing that, they come packaged, personality, hygiene, sanitation, you know. These are the things now that we put forth. And that personality, if you don't know how to talk to someone or don't know how to explain yourself, then you're going to have problems. Even selling And the talent is in you, but it's how you get it out and project it to the public. And these are the things that we talk about and the things that we work on a daily basis, because most of my kids are very, very talented in that, but some of them have to shape up on their personality. Some of them have to shape up on their hygienes. Some of them have to be able to communicate and explain themselves when they're dealing with the public. These are the things that now is a key to them being six-figure barbers.
Wow. And so with that being said, you know, there was a conversation out here about there are folk who know how to do hair. There are folk that may even be from other countries and know how to braid hair and all of this. And so there was a conversation about why they ought to have to go to school. And you said it right there. There's more to it than the knowledge of how to do. You've got a lot embedded in that.
Yeah, we talk about that quite a bit, because why lower the standards? Because you are talent. Being talent is just the beginning. It's not even the type of the iceberg that you need to know. You need to know bacteria. You need to know rules and regulations that's governed through the state of Louisiana. Why seduce it to someone that's not going to treat the industry the way that it's supposed to be? Because I know I would not sit in someone's chair that do not have a license. You may have a talent, but do you have that knowledge that comes with that talent?
Wow.
You know, that's just the bottom line. No, I'm not going to put it. I'm not going to accept that one.
You're not going to a doctor if he doesn't have license, does he?
No.
No, if he or she doesn't have license, you're not going there and let them doctor on them. And that is a great point, because this was even something that was discussed at the legislature. And so there were folk that were talking about it, but that's a great point that you're making there. It is more to it than just simply getting in the kitchen and fixing hair, or doing something about just going through the going through the motion. And I know that here at the Butler Center, you have brought your kids here, your young men here, and just to watch how they operate, you know that they have been in the process of being taught, but they are very much well trained. And so with that being said, when you talk about what it entails to be a barber, the time frame, the amount of hours, talk to them and talk to us about what that entails.
The bottom line is respect first. If you know how to give respect and treat your client, then you're capable of giving that client service. Now, at Ray J's, the state requires you to put 1,500 hours. We don't work by semester, we work by hours. And once you complete that, then you go and take the state board exam. Like I said earlier, we have a 99.9 passing ratio.
Wow.
And in having that, most of the kids get their license. They don't have to worry about food stamps. They don't have to worry about getting on the road and getting subsidized to live. They're capable of making a living and paying taxes or getting insurance for their family. These are the things that we put emphasis on. So at Ray J's, don't just think it's about cutting hair. Think about retirement. And to retire, you have to follow a map. And that map starts with your personality and your God-gifted talent that you got. That's it.
That's it. So what about the other activities that you do in the community? I know you brought them here for back to school, but I know you do other things too.
Yeah, we work with organizations. We go to Southern University. We go to LSU and cut hair with the sororities. We do a lot of that. Not only that, if a kid walks in or a grown-up walks in our school and don't have no money and asks for a haircut, they get a haircut. That's just the bottom line.
They're incarcerated.
They're
Yeah.
incarcerated. I work at the parish prison and, been there for 17 years. You'd be surprised the guys that I met came out of school and came out of prison and got a license and very successful.
Wow. Wow. That is great to know. You all heard that. My God. Out of prison and then got licensed to be a barber. And I bet you that's one of the best employees that a person can have, or a best business person that one can have. And they will definitely always remember all that you've done for them.
That means, they've changed.
Yes.
They've been rehabilitated, and being rehabilitated, they come to me with that personality. And with the personality, it shows in your performance in your work, the bottom line. I'm not saying all, but I would say almost 99. That comes to Ray J's, finish Ray J's.
Wow.
Yeah. And in doing that, I've seen them change their lives. It's amazing to see them. They start rough, but at the end, they business.
Yes, indeed. And that's what it's all about. Being productive citizens, being productive citizen. So, and what advice would you give a young person? I'm talking about middle school, high school youngster, a young person today, about becoming a barber, having a vision and all of that. What advice would you give them and their parents?
Well, if you have a kid that likes doing hair, just like you have a kid that likes being, say, a minister, or a kid that likes to draw, a kid, anything that this kid likes, then you support. Or want to play football, you support them. You'll be surprised with how far that person can go. I've seen kids go to college 4 years and then come out and come to Ray J's, and because this is what they want to do, but the parent wanted them to go to college. Fine, but at the end of the day, this kid end up in barber school and being very successful. You got so many different scenarios in kids today versus when I was coming up, because I focused on one thing when I was coming up. And all I knew that I had to be independent. Mm-hmm. My parents taught us that's one thing they taught, be independent. And to be independent, I had to find what I like doing. And they allowed me to do it with respect. That's respect. Respect is the key to any person finding their niche and what they would like to do.
There it is, and it's not hard. That what you've told us today and shared with us, I know I have learned some, as I've sat here, and I know that the viewers have, and the thing that we can say about Ray J's is that we've never heard anything contrary to Ray J being successful. Ray J believe in hard work. Ray J's believe in progressive and the young people. And the young people know it. It's amazing even to see when they finish cutting that hair, how they just automatically grab that broom and that dustpan and get sweeping. And so that's all part of that process from the beginning to the end. And so
my thing to them, I am a servant. You are no more than a service. You service your clients rather than your clients servicing you. If you go with that motto, in this industry, then you're successful. You can be successful. And I tell most of them, it's all about how you present yourself. You could be the best barber, and that barber next to you not quite as good as you, but has that personality, will get that client before you will.
So you all heard. And so I just want to thank you for stopping here at the Coleman's Media broadcast here. And I just want you to spread the word to let others know about just being able to come and educate the people. And I know that this, along with us, will definitely spread the word about Ray J. So tell them where you're located and how do they get in Ray J's beauty school, barber school.
Well, to get in school, you have to have a high school diploma or a GED. Those are the two things that can get you into the school. Without those, you cannot get in. That means no trade that the state trained you without those two documents. And then after that, you present that to us only if you are ready. We do have financial aid, and we do have state rehab. We have veterans. These are organizations that fund Ray J's with their students. You give us a call at 1726 Woodale Court, and that number is area code 928-6890. Yeah, I might mess up on numbers because I don't worry about I answer, but never give the number.
Yes.
But these are the things that you can do to catch up with us. But we're well known in the community, and most people do know us, and we go on the word of the community.
Yeah.
District 10, where I started from.
Yes, word of mouth. So
Yeah.
you heard him at 1946 Wooddale Boulevard. Yes, 1946. And so I say to you, thank you. And on Wooddale Court, that's the one that's upcoming. And then it looks like you're in Donaldsonville.
We're also in Donaldsonville.
Wow, so that's what I mean by the state, not just a Baton Rouge thing, but also in Donaldsonville, and then who knows where else, people. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, always did respect you, and wish you well, and just continue doing what you're doing. And if I say to you, you can count on Coleman.
And Coleman can count on Ray J.
Nah, thank
We've
you.
been on District 10 for all my life. So
Yes.
this is something that I enjoy doing. This is something that, as long as the Lord allows me to do it, I will do it.
Thank you. You heard it. That's Ray J's.